And you all watched last week's episode. It's time to find out who me and Dom think is the best technical wrestler of all time. Words fail me.
This is Broken Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.
And I don't even have a drink. Hello and a very warm welcome to the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast. My name is Anne and I'm joined today by...
It's Dom. How you doing, guys? You're right. Nice to see you.
What was that introduction? That's not what you normally do, but it was short, it was swift, it was to the point. I like it. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're trying to keep these videos short, concise, sweet, technically sound, which is good because that's the topic of today. Technically sound wrestlers with the greatest technical abilities that we've ever seen, Anthony.
That is exactly right, Dom. And this was suggested by someone on the last video. That was George Vandergriff, who said, who is the best technical wrestler in the world is what we want you to see you do on the next video. And we decided, you know what? It's not just going to be the best technical wrestler in the world. It's going to be the best technical wrestler of all time. We're mixing it up.
All time.
All time, baby. Dom, should we do... So if you haven't seen us before, there'll be a community poll that you can go and vote on. And last week's best wrestler in the world. Let's talk about it, Dom.
I won the best wrestler in the world. As it stands, I am in the lead. The best wrestler in the world, guys, is Roman freaking Reigns, the head of the table, as the greatest sports entertainer and also the best wrestler in the world. And I am also the best debater.
You're the winner.
I am the winner. I am the best debater. I'm the winner.
It's 1-0, Dom. It's 1-0. I'm ready to take it back in this episode, though. Let's find out who's going first, Dom. Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, I don't know what we're doing. Oh, cut. I'll go second, then. You can go first. Guys,
I didn't I go first last time because I won.
Yeah, but you chose where you go. You choose where you go. I've just chosen you first. Dom, are you ready? We'll get the timer on.
Ready.
And 3, 2, 1.
All right, guys. All right. It's not even started yet, but I'm going to take my extra time. The best technical wrestler of all time is Chris Jericho. That's right. The man of 1,004 holds has beaten Dean Malenko, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, but not the best technical wrestler in the world. He's beaten Chris Benoit, who needs to be in this conversation as one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, but he's not the absolute best because that is Chris Jericho. Once again, longevity speaks volumes. Chris Jericho still the best technical wrestler in the world. He outlasted Daniel Bryan. He's outlasted every other technical performer. He has been in the game the longest, and that's what we're going to think about when we look at the best technical wrestler in the world. He's been doing it the longest. He's still putting on banging matches. He can stretch you. He can put you in the lion tamer. He can do like Boston crabs, which is basically a variation of a lion tamer. He can do clover leaves. He can do all manner of stretches, all manner of pulls can Chris Jericho. And he can look good doing it because, once again, sports entertainment speaks volumes. You can be Dean Malenko, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, but not the best technical wrestler in the world but you don't have any personality. If you're going to stretch someone, if you're going to make someone tap out, if you're going to make someone submit, you've got to make it look good while he's doing it. And Chris Jericho, we can't deny when he's locking in that walls of Jericho, even though it looks like a modified Boston crab these days, it is a devastating looking finisher. Chris Jericho is the best technical wrestler of all time. He looks great. He's one of the best sports entertainers of all time. He has been doing it longer than Daniel Bryan, been doing it longer than anybody else I've mentioned here. Dean Malenko is retired now. Obviously, the less said about Chris Benoit, the better. But the other considerations for best technical wrestler in the world don't really matter. You can pick Daniel Bryan, you can pick anybody else, but Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah rock and roller, is the best technical wrestler in the world.
Wake up, Tom. Hello. Yeah, well done. That's good, man. There was some good arguments there. Chris Jericho is a very interesting person to choose. Good job.
Thanks.
So humble. And you went into sports entertainer territory again. Right, guys, it's going to be my turn to argue right now. 2 minutes on the clock, and let's go. When you think about technical wrestling and you look back in the history of it, you have early WWF champions like Bob Backlund. You have people like Bret Hart, who would certainly be in contention for this, or Kurt Angle, or Chris Benoit, who certainly would have been a controversial choice. This man has taken what they done and turned it into something new for a new generation. And not only has he been inspired by these cracking technical wrestlers, he continues to inspire today. And I'm talking about the man that is known as Daniel Bryan, or currently in the AEW, Bryan Danielson. As I say, this guy has inspired so many people. One of the interesting things about Bryan's matches is that he can tell a story in a ring from the first lockup, and we get the really quick lockup, technical wrestling, wrestling down to the mat, back and forth, the go, has been what's made Daniel Bryan one of the most interesting performers to watch in the last 10 years. Look at people that he's put on great matches with. I think the best match of The Fiend was with Daniel Bryan, and there's a reason for that, because he can tell a story in the ring, whether it's the cattle mutilation, whether it's a label lock, call it what you will. That is a devastating finisher, unlike someone like Chris Jericho, whose Walls of Jericho has become more and more meaningless. Chris Jericho isn't finishing people off with that move anymore. Daniel Bryan is. Daniel Bryan not only put on some of the best matches in the last 10 years, he continues to do so on a weekly basis. And for that longevity, I think that puts him above people like Bret Hart, like Kurt Angle, like Bob Backlund from the past. And I think his wrestling style is really great. I don't even need the last 10 seconds. I'm not very good at this. I'll be honest with you, Dom. I do struggle to fill out that 2 minutes time. Oh, I can't get you on. There we are. Hello.
Hello. That was a great argument. Like I say, fantastic. And I totally agree with you. Bryan Danielson is in the conversation, easily top 5. But again, if you look at sports entertainment, if you look at the entertainment factor of a technical wrestler, Daniel Bryan's
dude, shut up! Wait, right, every week
Daniel Bryan's promos got better. And also,
mate,
you forget to mention that you call him Daniel Bryanson every single stream.
Oh, mate, I call him everything, man. I call him everything.
But you can't just slap on a submission. You have to make it look.
It's not, man. It's way more than that. The start of Danielson's matches are always incredible.
Yeah, and you talk about the best matches in the last 10 years. Jericho's been on the run of his career with the Ring of Honor stuff, and also Jericho is involved in some of the best matches of the last 10 years as well, just in different promotions. I mean,
he absolutely has. But I don't think Jericho is as valuable to the wrestling. And stop saying sports entertainment. You did this last week where you went on your sports
and I won because it's a good argument. It's a good. Who would you rather watch? Who would you rather? This is to the community, not you. This is to the community. Who would you rather watch? In his, like, whether it's in his prime or now, like his entire career, would you rather go and watch a Daniel Bryan career retrospective through Ring of Honor and through, which is great, and all power to Daniel Bryan?
That's a nasty argument.
Right?
That's
and
a
NXT,
nasty argument,
right? Would you rather go watch Ring of Honor, NXT, WWE, Daniel Bryan, or would you rather go watch ECW, WCW, WWE, and then New Japan and AEW, Chris Jericho? What's a more entertaining body of work?
Not a bad argument, but who's also had the bigger moment in wrestling?
Well,
WrestleMania 30.
I would disagree.
Oh, no way, man. And I'll tell you now, right? You're on about Roman Reigns last week.
No,
let me speak. Go on.
Listen, beating The Rock and Austin the same night. Beating The Rock and Austin the same night, to me, trumps that.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That was on a random Raw. This was WrestleMania 30. This was one of the best WrestleManias of recent years. This inspired sports crowds all across the world to chant yes, 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 because we saw this smaller guy going up against the biggest in the world to win the championship.
And
the biggest sports entertainment moment, if that's your goddamn argument, was Daniel Bryan.
You're not wrong. It's not a bad argument. It is a sports entertainment moment. But who was chanting Y2J, and Raw is Jericho, Madison Square Jericho, etc., etc.? not decades, but years before Daniel Bryan even made it to wrestling. You've got to look at this from a long-term perspective, guys.
You've got to look a little bit about mainstream influence and size.
Mainstream influence.
Yes.
You're telling me that Jericho is less of a mainstream influence than Daniel Bryan?
Yes, Daniel Bryan had one of the biggest chants at sports stadiums across the world because he got over, because people wanted to see the small guy beat the giants of wrestling, and he did it.
I get the yes thing. But then Jericho did that. Jericho's got wins over the Big Show. Jericho faced big giants all the time when he, in his younger days. Obviously, Jericho, now it's a different story. But Jericho was Bryan Danielson before Bryan Danielson was Bryan Danielson. Jericho did it first.
And Bryan Danielson does it better than Jericho ever did.
Everything Daniel Bryanson does, that's just to wind Anthony up. Everything Bryan Bryanson does is what Chris Jericho did first.
And son Bryan, son Daniel did it better. Dom, I think that's a cracking argument. Dude.
Yeah. Again, yes, Daniel Bryan. This is my final. Daniel Bryan is doing it better now. Yes, he is.
No, he did it absolutely better.
But if you look at the heyday Chris Jericho, who would you guys in the community rather watch? Heyday Chris Jericho or Bryan Danielson? Jericho in his heyday.
I'd personally choose
Jericho,
Danielson.
All time, you've got to put Jericho over Danielson. How many years has Jericho got over Danielson? 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10.
It's not about time, because I could have chose Bob Backlund, and then are you saying that Bob Backlund would have won because he was doing it longer than Jericho?
No, I wouldn't. No, because that's a sports entertainment argument. That is definitely a sports entertainment. I would say Jericho.
And I'm not having that argument. Danielson is the winner. Right, Dom, we don't decide. You said the final word. Shut up.
To the community. It's down to the community, and I won last time, and I'm going to win again.
Well, you might win. We'll see. I think this should be closer than last week. I still can't believe you won last week, but you did fairly out of all 12 YouTube accounts that you voted from. Thank you everyone so much for listening to this video. If you want to vote for who you think is going to win, there is a community poll right now on the Gimme Whole Year YouTube page that you can absolutely vote in and vote for who you think won this week's argument. Was it Anne with son Danielson, or was it Dom with the master of 1,000?
Gimme a whole Jericho!
Gimme a whole Jericho, indeed. Dude, I've got a couple of people to thank. Thank you so much for watching this video. We couldn't make it. And these guys, as member exclusives, they get the video before everyone else. So a massive thank you to... That hasn't gone over, has it? There we go. Pro Wrestling Eve and Dex Barker, who are Hulomaniacs, our hardcore Hulomaniacs, who we don't currently have anyone. But if you want to, hit that join button, and you can see these videos as soon as we film them every week, basically. And, of course, our Gimme Whole Year champion, who is currently sassy. There's plenty of other benefits to becoming a member. Check them out in the link in the description. Dom, it's been wonderful playing with you. I beat you this week.
You love playing with me. You haven't beaten me this week. It's down to the community, and I just want to say to you that no matter what happens in this video, this Gimme a Whole Year channel and the community will never ever be the same again.
Dom, you just made the list.
This is Broken Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.